So we have special guest again. You guys know Cecily, and she is here to help me with a little video that was her idea, which is friend recommendations. So books that we've recommended to each other and read.
We're going to go in chronological order, but the first book I recommended to Danny was Prisoners in the Palace.
You guys saw that in my Beautiful Books video. Basically, it is about a girl called Liza who becomes a sort of maid for a queen. I can't remember who it was.
I can't.
For the life of me. It was a long time ago. And it is like this novel of like mystery and intrigue and
there's some great twists.
Yeah.
It's really, really good.
So recommended. The first book that I remember recommending to Cecily was The Hunger Games. We were on this thing called Rock Challenge with our school. Basically, I recommended it to her because I was on the second book of the series and I was just loving it. So, yeah.
I just remember Danny saying, "I'm reading this amazing book, you need to read it." And I'd heard about The Hunger Games and I just wasn't sure about it. I was like, sounds a bit, no, it's so good. I'm so glad you recommended it to me because I probably wouldn't have picked it up, so.
No, I wouldn't have if it wasn't for the assembly. Anyway, next one.
Danny recommended Slated
By Teri.
Very good book.
It is. It's a dystopian novel, and it sort of follows this girl called, what's her name?
Her name is Michaela, and she wakes up and she can't remember anything, and her mind has been slated, and so she goes back into a new family, and she tries to find out why she's slated.
Yeah.
So.
And the end of it ends on such a cliffhanger.
The second one wasn't out when I read it.
Oh god, yeah.
Oh my goodness, I needed it. Like, if you haven't heard of this one, where have you been?
Yes.
Have you been?
You must not have Tumblr. You just.
I think now you can guess what it is.
Yeah, you can. Gave it away. Sorry.
Fault in Our Stars.
Yeah. Yeah.
I read this, must have been around January. I read loads in like January. I have like 10 books that I read in January, and I just fell in love with it. It's one of those books that's just everyone loves.
Yeah.
And then everyone thinks it's like, and now everyone's like hipstery, like, oh, I don't like Fault in Our Stars. Anyway, so I recommended it to Danny, and we fangirled.
We did.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so sweet, and you know, some cancer novels, I'm gonna say it, but they make you feel like the worst human being on
Earth. They make you feel like you just...
Exactly, like you just... and I read Before I Die, like, the other side of Christmas, so like last year, and it was so sad, it was so good, but I just felt like a horrible human being, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing to feel like a horrible human being because it makes you think, but like reading The Fault in Our Stars, it was just such a... It was not in your face. It was just kind of. It was subtle. And the comic relief in that book, the timing. Oh my goodness!
I can't wait
that
for the film.
That, if anything, made me weep because they were still getting on with their lives.
Yeah, that was Our last book is
The Unbecoming of Dyer. You may have heard me mention this once or twice. I recommended it to Cecily.
Oh my god!
This book. This is just
Okay, one word. Noah.
Noah Shaw.
We love him so much.
He is the most amazingly attractive, nice, lovely
and just the
person
the way he's kind of he's just such a good character. It's just so well written.
It's so good. And despite putting Noah Shaw aside, which is hard to do, the plot, I'm sorry.
So good.
So I picked this book up in W.H. Smith's because of the cover.
Did you actually?
I did.
Oh, I looked at the cover and I was like, a little bit spooky, not the sort of thing I like reading. I like bright covers that make you want to read them. This one was kind of like, I'm in the shadows.
Yeah, it's if you haven't seen the cover, it's... Why am I going to explain it? I've got the cover. These two people, like, holding each other underwater, and it's quite dark.
Yeah.
But
it's so beautiful, though.
I just loved it.
See, now, because I love the book, I'm like, oh, the cover's amazing.
I know.
But I was like...
And you see what I mean by the fact that it's chunky. I've actually lent out the second one to my friend Emma at the minute because I was screaming at her to read it. So
yeah, she lent it to me. She wouldn't let me have the dust cover.
yeah, I haven't let Emma have the dust cover either. Basically, there's a building collapse.
Yeah, there is.
And Mara is the only one left alive out of her and her friends and her ex. Well, no.
Was it her boyfriend?
I think it was her boyfriend at the time. Now ex-boyfriend because he's
Obviously.
dead. Obviously. So yeah, the building collapses because they go to this haunted hospital or mental asylum. It's a mental asylum.
Then she leaves town. She has to leave, obviously, because it's a bit traumatic.
Yeah.
And
she meets this guy called Noah at her school. He's leaning on the vending machines.
yes.
And
Yeah. So basically, Noah and Mara.
get it on.
Yeah, well, so that's basically the whole story. No,
it's
loads
not.
of stuff happens. It's
But
kind of
that's-
spooky, intriguing.
It is, and it's all like she starts seeing dead people.
That makes it sound horrible.
It does make it sound horrible.
It isn't.
But
it's
it's so good.
Okay,
It'll
now we
play
should
with
stop
your
talking.
mind. That was a list of books that we've recommended to each other and hope will be good recommendations to you. So thank you, Cecily, for
It's okay.
filming with me again.
Yay.
I love having you in my
Aww.
videos.
Aww.